Now another thing we have to keep in mind is the words of the speaker. What type of the sentence is inside the inverted commas? You know that there are 4 types of sentences: assertive sentences or statements. Then we have the interrogative sentences or questions. We have imperative sentences like commands, request, order, instruction, etc. And then we have the exclamatory sentences. So whenever you are transforming from direct speech to indirect speech, please understand what type of sentence is inside the inverted commas. Suppose it is a statement or an assertive sentence. I will tell you one example. As I told you earlier, Rahul said, I like ice creams, right? So when we transform it, what did we do? Rahul said that he liked ice creams. So we added a connector. We added a word. Rahul said that. Rahul said that. So that will be added when we transform statements from direct to indirect speech. Okay. Then according to the pronoun, the speaker and the listener, the pronouns also will change. For example, I like ice creams. As Rahul is the speaker, it became he liked ice creams. And I told you the tense changes. I like ice creams. Like is in present tense. It transforms into past tense. I liked, he liked ice creams. The same such object. Okay. So that is how we transform statements. Let us see how we transform from direct to indirect speech the questions. How many types of questions are there? There are mainly 2 types of questions. Questions which can be answered by a simple yes or no. Questions which need explanation or which need an exact answer. I ask you a question. Do you eat chocolates? What will be your answer? If you eat chocolates, you will tell yes. If you don't eat chocolates, you will say no. Right? Again, if I ask you, will you come with me? Sometimes you may say yes, sometimes you may say no. So these are called yes or no questions. That means the questions which can be answered by a simple yes or no. So when we are transforming from direct speech to indirect speech, such yes or no questions. Let us see one example. Rahul said to Vinod, will you help me in this worst situation? Will you help me in this worst situation? So when we transform it, Rahul said to, what was in the question? Said to Vinod. So when we are transforming it, we should write Rahul asked Vinod. Okay, it is a question, so we are changing the reporting verb. So Rahul asked Vinod if or whether. What is the word that we should use? We should not use that as we did in the statements. This is a question, yes or no question. So the word that we should use is if or whether. Okay. So what will be the answer? Rahul asked Vinod if, would you help me in this worst situation? That was the question. Will you help me? So how will it come? Whether he would. He would. The subject must come first. Okay. He would help him in that worst situation. This changes to that. Okay. So that is how we will transform yes or no questions. We should add whether or if. Here are a few examples. You can notice how these yes or no questions are transformed from direct to indirect speech. But you should keep in mind the change in tenses as we studied earlier. Okay. Now I told you about the yes or no questions. Now there are other questions like when, where, how, what, why, when, whose. So these are all called WH questions because usually you can notice that these questions start with the letters WH, only with the exception of how. So all these questions are called WH questions. Okay, so when we are reporting a WH question, let us see what changes will occur. Rahul said to Vinod, when is your exam? Rahul said to Vinod, when is your exam? Okay, so it is the WH question. So let us see how we report it. Rahul asked Vinod when his exam was. So see what all changes did we make? Did we add that? No. Did we add whether or if? No. Is there any connector? No. So what is added after that reporting? We see Rahul asked Vinod when. So whatever be the question word, if it is when, you write when. If it is were, you write were. If it is why, you write why. Whatever be the question word, write that question word. Okay, when his exam was. Okay, so we should write the subject first, then we should write the verb. Okay, so when is your exam, it gets transformed to when his exam was. Is changes to was, present changes to past, that is why. Okay, now let us see how the imperative sentences are transformed from direct speech to indirect speech. The teacher said to the student, take your notebook. So what is the teacher doing here? She is instructing the students to take the notebook, isn't it? So how will we write? How will we transform it? So take your notebook. That is a command. It could be an instruction like that. So we will transform the verb. The teacher instructed the students. Instead of said to the students, what are we doing? The teacher instructed the students to take their notebook. So we are just adding the word to. Then we are writing the same verb, whatever is the verb given in that sentence. So, take your notebook. The teacher instructed the students to take their notebook. Suppose another example I will tell you. Rahul said to Vinod, please help me. So Rahul requested Vinod to help him. So see, to help him. And again, what is changing? The reporting verb is changing according to the tone of the sentence. Requested, pleaded, commanded, instructed, ordered, like that. Okay, so when we are changing an imperative sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, please take care with the reporting verb, and you have just to add the word to, and then you have to write the bare form of the verb, whatever is given in that sentence. So that is how we will report an imperative sentence.